Hello YouTube, this is AndrewTheRed. So as I said in my last commentary video, I'm going to start doing some my library videos. I made a mess in my room. I pulled a lot of them out of boxes. I had a lot more books than I thought I did. But anyways, I got them into categories here. I've got science in front of me, which I'm going to do first. I've got some history books. I've got philosophy, I've got fiction, I've got history, maybe I already said that. I have psychology, and I have my education, and then I've got education stuff from school as well that I'm going to do maybe in a separate section, because that kind of stuff is more specific to what I'm doing in graduate school. The other education sections are stuff that I own and more general. So anyways, the point of these videos is on the side of my gaming videos, which aren't going to disappear, I'm going to basically take requests. If there's a certain book that you would like me to present, do a few videos on, or one video on, depending on the complexity of the book, then I'd be certainly happy to do that. Most of these books I have read, some of them I haven't, and depending on the book, I also have done annotations for them. So when I read most books, unless it's just for fun, I will, interesting quotations that I find within the book, I'll write the page number down and type up the quotation. I used to write them, but then I just put them on the computer. So those will be more detailed reviews of the book. So I'll just get started with the science section. I think I'm going to group. This video is going to be, there's not going to be one full video. It'll be too long because there's so many books here. So I'm going to divvy it up. I think I'll do the science section and the history section together, because they seem to be the smallest groups. All the other groups are pretty big. So I'll start. I've only got a few science books. So I'll start with this one here. So this one's called The Little Book of Big Ideas, Science, by Dr. Peter Moore, and it's just a simple little book that's got a brief accounts of many different scientists. This is 2006. So for example, there's Charles Darwin. So it's just a little reference book. So that's all that one is. But it has all kinds of people in it. Einstein, there's Crick, Mendel, so those are genetics. There's Marie Curie for chemistry, there's Galileo, so etc. Here is a book. This is astronomy. So The Case for Mars. This actually, I guess I didn't finish it, but this is actually a really neat book about how we should have already been on Mars in terms of human beings being on Mars. We have had those little machines or robots go on Mars and pick up samples, but we have not had human beings. And this book, 1996, by Zubrin, he makes the case. I haven't finished it, but I remember this one because I thought this was really interesting. He makes the case that we already have the technology to get there, and we should have already been there. So that's a neat one. Okay, this book, Brief History of Everything, by Wilber, Ken Wilber. I read this book a few years ago in the entirety. It's a pretty long book, and I remember that I got nothing out of it. Nothing at all. I just remember there's all kinds of pieces that he talks about of time and the universe, and I remember not getting anything out of it. So I guess he talks a bit about, there's maybe an interesting picture, but he talks about this stuff. And anyways, I don't remember getting anything out of it, so maybe I can revisit that one if there's enough people who care about it. All right, this is a humongous book. The Origin of Species, of course, but it was cheap. I picked it up I must have picked it up cheap because I would have normally bought something like this. But it's full color, and it's pretty neat to have a book like this on the Origin of Species and have all kinds of nice pictures. So that's why I picked that one up. Normally I wouldn't bother with something so huge, but it was cheap, and there's lots of pictures in it and stuff, so that's why I got that one. Here's another big one, and they're not all this way. It's just my science section is tiny, And I actually don't have anything of Richard Dawkins, which is tragedy. I did read, I did have online what was it called? A watchmaker one. I can't remember now the title, but I did read that one online, but I don't have any physical copies. Here's a new atlas of the moon. So this is actually, it actually has like pictures of the moon, obviously, but it puts them on top. There's labels and things like that, and it kind of, I don't know what you call it now. Like it has overlays, and you can put labels on the craters and things like that. So it's just a neat book to look at while you're using a telescope, for example. This begins the history section. So I have quite a few more books. I have a few more less giant picture books this time, but there is a few that I picked up for cheap. So here's one: the response to industrialism. What was it, 1885 to 1914, so just up to World War I there. I got this one for free. There's a little thingy, there's a little price tag here for $1, but I actually got this for free, picked it up. And this was written in 57. I think Mr. Cropper would be proud. 57, University of Chicago Press, Samuel Hayes, Hays. So this would be pretty interesting. So basically, how society would have adopted or would have adjusted to industrialism just up to World War I. It says impact on American society. So that's that one. Here is actually, I remember this is actually a pretty good book, Pirates, an illustrated history. So I played quite a few pirate games in terms of like Port Royal and Patrician, and Age of Pirates, and what else? Patrician. And so this was actually neat to read through because it talks about a lot of the pirates that are listed in those games, and you can read more about the history of those pirates. Like, for example, Blackbeard, although that wasn't his real name. He has a different name, but yeah, so it was pretty interesting. Let me just see if I can find them here. And of course all the ships too, all the ship names and different kinds of cannons they had, and using catapults on boats and ballistas, and just ridiculous. But that was the history of pirateering. So yeah, that was a pretty neat book. I think I picked it up for cheap for sure. Here's actually a book I used in university. I took a classics course, which was a huge waste of time. But anyways, Gladiators and Caesar. The only reason I kept this book is because it's got really nice pictures in it of all kinds of Roman sculptures, and just to show a couple here, all kinds of Roman sculptures and things like that. So I kept it because of that. Okay, here's a really old book. Let's see, the title is actually inside. It's old, like cloth binding. I picked this up at a church book sale. It really stood out, so I grabbed it. It's a book on Kurt Gerstein. You probably aren't familiar with him, but he actually was a Secret Service member under Hitler during World War II. He was captured and sent to a prison in Paris, where he committed suicide. But actually, what the reason that people write about him, this guy anyways did, is because later on in the 60s, the French justice system reviewed his case and the evidence against this particular person, and he was actually acquitted, although he was already dead for 20 years. He killed himself in jail. So that's this story. So I thought that was crazy, so I had to pick that up. This was written in '69. Here's a picture of the guy. So I thought that was pretty neat. So the title is called Kurt Gerstein, The Ambiguity of Good. And it was translated from the French and German. Okay. Oh, here is a game manual. It shouldn't be in this pile, but it's a pretty good game. Anyways, Pharaoh. It's a pretty good game. Okay. The Age of Capital by Hobsbawm, 1848 to 1875. So this will deal with that period of time. And I actually have another one somewhere. Actually, it's right here. The Age of the Revolution by the same author. So this one, The Age of Revolution, 1789 to 1848 in Europe. This one was published in 62. And the other one was published, The Age of Capital was published in 77. So this is a series, obviously. And there's actually pictures in the middle of the book. But so that's a series, and I guess I'm missing. What was the year for this one? I guess I'm missing a piece here because this one's. Oh no, never mind. So this one comes first, The Age of Revolution, and then The Age of Capital will be the next one. So yeah, those are nice to have together. Okay, here's another big one that I got for cheap: The Rise and Fall of Great Empires by Taylor. I'm sure this is in the 2000s, but again, it's like nice colored pictures, so it goes along, can go along nice reading these kind of books. And I'm sure I picked this one up for $5 or something. Anyways, so there's that one, and guess which might be the next empire to fall, right? There's the Great Wall. China Against the World, 1000 BC to 2000 AD. So that covers a huge span of history. This was written by a Lovell and 2006. So it doesn't have pictures, but should be a good history on China, anyways. Because China, the East, has a lot of history, all kinds of wars and dynasties and all that stuff. So. Okay, here's a couple I picked up recently, actually. The Reformation in England by Powick. Powick. This one was 25 cents. Let's see what year it was. The first edition was 41. This one is 63. So this covers medieval England up to the Elizabethan Church. So that'll be an interesting tour on England. And here's another one I picked up recently, also 25 cents. The Habsburg Monarchy and the Europa Universalis 3 Let's Play that I'm doing right now with Asmodeus. That'll be a nice little addition to that, because I ask him once in a while about the history of Austria, because I don't know it myself. This covers 1809 to 1918. So I guess this is further along than our game, which takes place from the very late 14th century to which will end in the mid 19th century. This was first published in 48 and reprinted. So this one's 81, but first printed in 48. So there's a nice picture too of the Austrian royalty. Okay, here, I guess I'll show you these next. These are actually a couple I picked up at school. So this is called The Hanseatic Control of Norwegian Commerce during the Late Middle Ages. So this book is written by Gade, G-A-D-E, published in 51. So the reason I picked this one up is because I'm interested in the Hanseatic League, which is a trade league in Northern Europe. Because again, just like the Pirate book, I play lots of trading games, and the ones that partake in Europe, usually the Hanseatic League is around, so I guess I was interested in the history of that. I haven't started reading them yet, but I will. Here's another one. This one doesn't really have a cover. England and the German Hans, 1157 to 1611. And this was published in 1991. So, author is Lloyd. So that is a little collection of books on the Hans and the Hanseatic League. Okay, here's a book I picked up for I guess $8. I'm not even sure how you pronounce this. The Mitrokin Archive. So this is on the KGB in Russia. This is a fairly new, I'm sure, book published in 2005. So this will be a tour of Russia and the KGB, which I don't know anything about, so that's why I have that one. Here's a book on Buddhism. There's a book on Buddhism. So I'll get that for $10, I guess. Well, less than that with a reward card, but all kinds of it's hard to get this kind of stuff in an old book from the 50s or whatever. So it's got nice colored pictures of art, Chinese art, and that kind of stuff. So those are nice to have. Here's another one of those type, North American Exploration. Got that for $5, I guess. So again, so this will be fairly new. 2003 by Gade and Bowman. So this will be a tour of the exploration of the New World, and probably also it'll talk about, which isn't talked about as much, it'll talk about the land explorers, because usually in pretty much in school you learn about the geez, I can't even think of them now. You learn about the those on the boats and going around South America and discovering northern Canada and all that kind of stuff. What you don't hear about is those who trekked across the massive forest of North America. So that'll be what that one's about. Okay, a couple more here from the history section, and then that'll be it. So this one is The Lost Dinosaurs of Egypt, $2. So this is a little book. It's got a few pictures in it, but not too many. I'm sure this one isn't very old, 2002. And yeah, I don't have any books on archaeology, although I don't know how serious this book will be, but $2, I'll give it a try. And here's another one, larger book, 100 Great Military Leaders. So again, I picked up this book because of the pictures. So the pictures are nice to have, old pictures. So it talks about, so it's all the way Alexander the Great, pretty much. There's Sparta, Leonidas of Sparta. There's Sun Tzu. So it'll go all the way up to, what does it go? Colin Powell. That's funny. And a bunch of other people. I have no idea who these people are. Don't know. Anyways. Okay, so that'll be a video. So that's the science and history section. I wish I had more books. I wish I had a few books on Dawkins. I should almost apologize, because I do enjoy Dawkins' work. So that should have been in my science section, but there's so much stuff online nowadays, so pretty much a lot of this stuff I just picked up for cheap. But if I ever see a Dawkins book, I'll certainly pick it up, but I haven't really. I don't frequent the library sales very often, because I've pretty much had access to the university library for a long time now, so haven't had the need. I can just pick stuff up from there for free and read them. But there are some things that I see worth collecting or having. Alrighty, so next video I guess I'll do the philosophy, or maybe I'll do the education section. You'll find out, won't you?